Good afternoon, Mr. Rao, and thank you very much for the opportunity. And it is a pleasure to have this chance to talk with you. Thank you.
To begin with, Uster is known as a leading technology player in quality management for textile industry. Could you please brief us about various products offering for textile industry and their USPs?
Yes, sure, with pleasure. Our organization, and you can see it also as a part of our logo, it is being driven by think quality. So whatever we are doing is related to quality. Our offering to the textile industry is around measuring and benchmarking quality in the entire value chain, textile value chain. We are starting early with the fibers. We are having our products for classifying, measuring and classifying the quality of cotton, which has been used as a basic ingredient for trading cotton globally. In the mill, in the textile mill, in the spinning mill, we are having our instruments to measure the properties of the fibers during processing, and the key value that our customers are perceiving is that they are optimizing their machines and they are controlling the performance of the machines in terms of waste and the efficiency utilization of fibers. Then we are having systems for controlling the contamination in the blow room. Contamination, it is an issue in the last almost 30 years now in our industry, and it seems that it is still an issue. Actually, it is becoming even more important by having the opportunity to source globally cotton. So our solutions, the value that our customers perceived with our solutions in contamination control is to be able to process different types of cotton and guarantee a more uniform result in terms of contamination. And needless to say, to the minimum extent. Then we are moving inside the spinning mill, and in every spinning mill, one way or another, there is a laboratory. We have our laboratory instruments measuring, as mentioned before, fiber, but also the yarn quality. Actually, our Uster tester, it has been one of the first products that Uster Technologies has developed more than 60 years ago. Now it is in the 6th generation. Which is also equipped with almost everything that technology and innovation can offer today in order to automate the yarn quality testing, accompanied with strength testers, the Tensomat, the Tensojet, and the Tensorapid, as well as the Classimat, the instrument that is capable to classify the quality of the end yarn. Moving into the ring spinning, what we are having is our Sentinel. It is our ring spindle monitoring system. In the old days, we used to call it ring data. In Uster, it was the first system in the market. Now we call it a spindle optimization system. Technology is offering us opportunities to do much more than head break detection, and we are leveraging this potential and these opportunities. And we are moving to the winding machines, where we are having our Uster Quantum clearer, the yarn clearer, which is the last frontier, if you wish, for not only measuring but controlling the quality of the yarn, determining the quality character of the yarns that we are producing. Before leaving the spinning mill, what we have invested quite a lot in the last 5 years and has grown in terms of offering. Meanwhile, it is our effort to connect these single sources of quality information, of quality control. The platform we have used is the quality management platform that has been launched in the last ITMA, which is connecting the contamination control, the laboratory instruments, the Sentinel, the ring spindle monitoring system, as well as the young clearer, bring everything together. And typically in the past, you know, if you would ask me the same question about such a system 10 or 15 years ago, I would say this is the achievement, the ability to bring everything together. Actually, we didn't stop there, because this is on its own creating some value, but we believe strongly that there is an additional value that can be created. And the additional value created is being by filtering all this information, combining it in ways that make sense in order to produce results. This is what we call value modules, as the result of consolidating and combining and analyzing the data in the quality platform. Focused on contamination, combining the system for contamination control in the blow room and the yarn clearer. Call it spindle optimization, combining the ring spindle optimization as well as the yarn clearer. Call it a fiber to yarn engineering, combining all the information deriving from all the steps of the journey of the fiber to the yarn. Call it alerts or alarms. One of the key ingredients, one of the key characteristics of the quality platform, management platform, is that it is distilling, it is filtering what is not correct, what is not right, applying data science as well as application know-how, building rules. And what we are doing is we are surfacing those exceptions, alerts from the analysis of the whole and the entire process, and we are bringing to the attention of the right people at the right time and at the right format. Means highlighting the problem, anticipating the possible reasons why it could happen, and proposing possible mitigate actions. So this is our offering within the spinning mill. Going into the fabric, since we are trying to cover the entire value chain, we are having 3 offerings. One, it is a real-time on-loom inspection in weaving machines. And the value proposition here is to detect as early as possible in order to avoid later on problems, and the ability to react at the time of the problem. We have Fabric Vision, which is the offline quality control inspection of the fabric. And the value proposition here is that we are trying to automate, to digitalize and automate something that has been very tedious, laborious, and often the source of many problems in the downstream process. We are trying to identify with accuracy and repeatability the defects, and we mark them in the roll, so we facilitate later on the cutting operations to minimize waste and to classify the quality of the rolls, which is very important. And the third product we are offering in the fabric inspection business is the shade variation analyzer. shade is color and shade is also something very peculiar in the fabric business, in the finishing and the dyeing business. So what we are providing here, it is a method and the instrument in order to measure the shade variation within the rolls and between the rolls, so that we can guarantee that consignments will be within predefined and accepted limits to guarantee the avoidance of seconds. So this is what we are offering in the fabric business. Extrapolating and going a little bit beyond the traditional textile business, it is also the non-woven industry. There we are offering a solution for contamination control, since the applications are a little bit delicate. Some of the applications are a little bit delicate. In combination with fabric inspection, since it is a surface, the non-woven surface, our fabric vision system, it is tailored to make the classification of the quality also of the non-wovens. And last but not least, in terms of product offering, our offering is also in the filament industry with laboratory instruments. Our Uster tester is measuring the homogeneity of the filaments, the uniformity of the filaments, as well as different characteristics like the interminglings or the roundness, as well as the tensile properties of the filaments, focusing on the most important aspects of the quality of the filaments. That's about the product offering. Again, as mentioned before, our effort is continuously trying to cover the entire textile value chain, starting from fiber to fabric. In terms of services, we are having a program called Usterized, where we are having a group of around 80 spinning mills all over the world. We are visiting them every year, and we are having a discussion. We call it audit, but it's not audit in a formal manner. It is more about using also our experience with our people in order to exchange views and ideas, maintaining high standards and also improvements. No matter if we are good, there is always something to be done differently and better. Trainings, that's also part of our DNA. And last but not least is our Uster statistics. It is 60 years now that we are doing it. We are providing the quality benchmarks for the textile industry to be used by all the players, for the spinners to measure what they are doing, or to identify if could be done differently or better, but not theoretically, practically with what others are doing. For the machine manufacturers, in order to set the standards for the performance of their machinery. For the young buyers or the young traders, in order to understand what is the good or better quality, having a benchmark. And all in all, I think it is also important that it is being used as a common language to understand something that it is sometimes a little bit abstract, like quality. And do it that in a practical manner that people can understand and live. So this is our offering for the textile industry. And we are very proud of it.
So you just spoke about digitalization and automation industry 4.0. Are you seeing this demand from across the world? Are you seeing this demand increasing in Asia, Asian countries?
I think the answer is yes, and I think this is inevitable. I think in Asia, excuse me, please go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, you can complete. You can complete.
I think in Asia, the mindset of the people, it is quite ready to move to a digital era. No, not only in textiles, in all aspects of life. You see the penetration of either systems or platforms. It is quite broad and quite wide. The infrastructure is helping a lot, and it is being seen as a normal way of living now. So this is questioning a little bit the tradition, which is enabling the transformation towards to a more digital way of doing things or living much faster. Same applies also for India. I think the degree of the digitalization and the social growth are certainly catalysts of moving faster to an inevitable digital future. Specifically in textiles, I believe that we are moving there one way or another. The critical point, though, is that such transformation requires the participation of everyone. So it is the producers that needs to become more digital. It is the consumers that needs to become more digital. It is the technology that it's required to connect them and become available. And last but not least, needs to be affordable for all and to be used in order to be productive and valuable. So I believe that we are moving in that direction. Certainly, Asia is leading or having a leading role as well. It is also a matter of numbers, population, and consumer power. And I believe that we can learn a lot about the development in this area from Asia.
So from business point of view, how was 2019 for Uster, and how has been 2020 so far?
The last year for us, it was quite rewarding and quite challenging. I believe that every year is challenging one way or another. So the challenges that we were facing were mainly with signs of fatigue and overcapacity in some regions, blended together with disruption caused by the United States and China trade war and its implications in the global commerce. On the top of that, of course, COVID-19 outbreak, which is not only a business disruption, it is a life disruption, having implications also on business. So all in all, it was a quite rewarding year. And we are proud that our organization and our colleagues managed to deal with the disruptions with flexibility and with agility. 2020 is requiring even more flexibility and even more agility than the previous year. Since we do not know how long it's going to last, we just need to adapt to fast changing conditions, sometimes very fast, faster than we can cope, but this is what we need to do. So last year it was a good year. This year it is different challenges and quite unknown, to be honest with you, quite unknown.
You, from your product offering point of view, as you are aware, lots of, in Asia especially, lots of textile industries are run by small and medium enterprises. So how is Uster catering to this segment of small and medium enterprises companies?
Our contribution to the small and medium-sized enterprises in the textile industry in Asia, also in India, but generally in Asia, it is focused more on the automation as a value proposition and leveraging information, data, in order to make informed decisions. So what we are trying is to build technologies to work together with the people in the mills. I do not know if there will be ever a time that we will not require people in our operations in the textiles. Even if this is the case, there is a phase that automation, machines, and technology needs to work together with people because there are a lot of opportunities to learn from each other. So what we are trying to do and our offering, the value proposition of our offering, it is to create the conditions that will allow the automation and the understanding of the data, at least of the quality data, to help the management and the spinning mills to make decisions based on data, informed decisions, in order to remain ahead with their targets and competitive.
So what are the current trends visible in the Swiss textile machinery market?
I think the trend, it is, if I had to choose some words, it would be betting a lot on automation, betting also a lot on integration, means make sensors or systems integrated to the machines. So I think the ultimate result when these solutions will mature would be that the machines would be clever enough on their own to make decisions. Until we reach that point, though, we need to create the space in order to learn from each other, the humans and the sensors and the innovation, so that the result at the end will be sustainable and valuable for the end users. So I think automation and integration, it is the key words that is driving the textile machinery industry. The last one is data. We are past the times that we are producing data for the sake of producing data. We are living in times that we need to take the pivot position to step on the stepping stone on analyzing the data and take the meaning out of it for the benefit of the customer. So the value proposition is not anymore the provision of data, is making data know-how and offer it to the end user and to the customer. And for that, we need application know-how.
Coming to your non-woven applications for your non-woven textiles, given the fact that we are seeing a demand for technical textile industry, are you seeing a rise in demand for your products and technologies which are targeted at non-woven textile industry?
Yes, yes. No matter of this crisis, non-woven has been a sector in the textile business that has been growing quite steadily and quite good over the last years. And I believe that in the times to come, we will discover more and more uses and diversification for non-woven textiles in our lives. So I believe that there is a lot of value in trying to offer solutions to deal with challenges and problems that the non-woven producers are facing in order to provide either better products or more competitive products, or develop new products with the help of the technology. And this is our target, to support the non-woven manufacturers from our standpoint of view with quality measurement.
There is a thinking in there are a lot of experts who believe that there will be changes or disruption in supply chain post COVID symptom pandemic. If that happens, do you also expect demand being shifted to different parts of the world for Uster as we see in the post COVID scenario? Because
I think that this crisis with COVID will be the catalyst of changes. Now, how far we are from implementing such changes, I do not know. I think the time will show. But definitely, there will be changes and adaptations. And the tendency would be in order to create some flexibility, in order to be as close as possible to the market, in order to mitigate the risk of isolation or a disruption of such kind. Having said that, some of the business will move closer to the markets of consumption. Is this going to be a trend, a big trend that will fuel a large-scale reorganization of the supply chains? Personally, I doubt. Because building up a supply chain is one thing, sustaining a supply chain is another thing, and everything comes then to costs, and supply and demand. I think automation will play a role in facilitating establishing supply chain routes easier or different. But if this is going to happen right after the COVID, I doubt. But I think that the COVID or this crisis will certainly help in developing that thinking, and at least entertaining the thoughts of assessing the merits of at least planning to do these things. So short term, I do not think that it will happen, but long term, with the maturity of the automation, it is certainly something that countries or economies or ecosystems will think of, certainly.
Coming to India, from the headquarters in Switzerland, what are your views on the Indian market?
Excuse me, could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. From the headquarters in Switzerland, what are your views on the Indian market?
Indian market for us, it is a very special market. First of all, it is a very traditional market. It is traditional for us because India has a long history in textiles, a very strong position in the textile world, and a large-scale know-how. It has been considered quite traditional, but not in a negative way. It's more in the romantic way. I mean, it is more been seen very traditional, focused more on the local market or the domestic, let's say, market. And I believe that the future, it is rather bright. for India. It is bright in the sense that one way or another, the textile leaders of the nation will take the necessary steps, not only to modernize, but also to expand into becoming much more vertical and adapting new and more sustainable methods in a scale for producing textiles, and set a mark that will highlight how something that has been considered traditional with a lot of and a long history can move to a new era and set an example for the future. So it is very important, the Indian market for Uster. It will remain very important. We are very proud for having our organization and our partners, customers in India. And I believe that the future is only bright for the Indian textile industry.
So are there any expansion plan or investment plan in India for Uster?
Yes, we are building up now our fabric inspection business, and we are taking the opportunities because it has not been so much in our portfolio until recently, until 2 years ago. So this is also an opportunity to expand our business and our team and our know-how in India. And of course, the non-woven industry, which is also a field with our contamination control and the inspection, that it has been an expansion and an opportunity to offer more value to the textile industry in India.
So the final question is, what are your plans, growth plans for 2020 and beyond? And are you looking at recalibrating your growth plans due to COVID-19?
So one lesson that we learned, and theoretically we were aware of it, but practically now we have to exercise it, is to implement a much shorter term planning. So we used to run on a yearly basis with some milestones for calibrating. Now we are running in a much shorter term planning with even shorter milestones for calibrating. We are a relatively small and quite flexible organization. One thing is to have it theoretical in your mind, that it is a system that needs to be in place. It is another thing to make it happen and to live it. This has been a good change for us. So we are planning on a 3 months basis, and we are implementing shorter milestones, cross points. What COVID meant to us, apart from the organization and the vision of the development of the business, is that in the absence of the trade shows for this year, and in the absence of an appetite to discuss investments from the customers, we focused more on helping customers to deal with their challenges, which is cash flow, which is generating business, which is keeping business. So we are pay too much attention, or a lot of attention and a lot of energy to trainings, into being next to customers for questions or for support, rather than discussing only about business and expansions. The other thing that meant to us this crisis is that on the business front is that we adapted our innovation pipeline. We didn't stop, but we just prolonged the innovation. It is good to have innovation when the market is also ready to adapt. It is also helping the morale, and it's also giving us an opportunity for reflecting, asking ourselves 3 times what is really necessary and what really brings us value. Because in normal times, we are running behind the time, behind the clock. But this crisis provides us a unique opportunity to become a little bit more reflective, selective, and adapting our plans to the real core value of what we are trying to bring. So I believe that in that sense, it has been an opportunity for our plans. It is needless to say, and it is not unique only for Uster. I think it is a priority for every organization in this planet nowadays, that safety of people and showing compassion and respect to the needs of our colleagues and the rest of the human beings, it is a priority. It is something that is not negotiable. It's not even a discussion. So whatever we are doing and we did and we will do, it is distilled with sensitivity and with respect to safety and to health, not only of us and our colleagues, also of the people around us. So it was also a good opportunity to test our values. Each and every organization is driven by values in the organization. It was also an opportunity to test them and to live them more vividly than before. So generally, to answer your question, we adapted to the conditions. We are still adapting. We are not targeting the growth, we are measuring the growth. We are targeting to achieve value creation, and we are trying to avoid destroying value, and we measure the result. So in that sense, we didn't have to adapt our growth, we just had to adapt what we are doing and what value we are anticipate to bring, both in terms of business, but also for organization. So it was more a good opportunity to reflect, to distill, and to become a little bit more human.
Thanks, Mr. Thomas, for spending time with Indian Textile Journal and sharing your thoughts on the Swiss textile machinery industry and Uster.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rao, for the opportunity. It was a pleasure to see you. And I would like to wish to you, to your family, and to everyone good health, stay safe, and not forget to smile and to be positive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.